My name is Tibor. I'm a nutrition and sport nutrition specialist, also an elite trainer. And in my previous recordings, I mentioned that I'm going to talk about the timeline of the significant developments in the evolving science of nutrition. So here we go. Let's take a look. So in the 1950s, there were some experiments, and it included a few group of women, and they were put under a certain amount of diets. They measured their food intake and they followed what they eat, how much they eat, and when they eat it. However, all the food that they eat contained high fat elements. So the goal was achieved. All these women, after 4 months, they lost substantial amount of weight. And now here is the important part. High fat diet jeopardizes our health. So yes, the doctor proved that in 4 months he was able to make these women to lose substantial amount of weight, but it did not include that it will make them healthy, right? So then he closing it with a sentence that, you know, the nutrition elements of the food is very, very important, and also the calorie intake is very important. Well, we can argue both. A high fat diet, first of all, it's not a nutrition rich diet. You know, there are vegetables, there are fruits. We just know so much better right now. So that statement was wrong already. When we talk about calories, it's also incorrect. Nowadays, you can eat from certain foods as much as you want if you eat the right food. So you don't have to starve. It's not about starvation. It's about eating the right elements. So I would like to submit to you that our goal, our original goal, was wrong since 1950s, because we target weight loss instead of being healthy, two separate things. However, both of them give you the same results. One of them make you ill. In that scenario, high-fat diets are going to make you ill, but the diets that are not high-fat and including a lot of vegetables and fruits and other elements will serve your health. And when health occurs, weight loss occurs. It will happen organically. Yes, it takes a bit more time, but then it's sustainable. So that's when healthy lifestyle starts. Alright, so let's watch the video.
Examination is made. The amount of weight to be lost by each girl is determined. Based on many years' experience with the subject of weight control, Dr. Holland has this to say on reducing.
There is no shortcut to weight reduction. Nearly all obese people can lose weight and feel better by eating less food, but foods of high nutritive value. Few of the people that we examine can blame their excess pounds on glandular trouble. Habitual overeating and wrong eating create this serious problem.
Devising an effective reducing diet is the basic step in any program of weight reduction through diet.
That's what we care about. And it's really started not too long ago. It started in the 1950s. There were a few scientists that already started to monitor human health when it came to dieting. One of the famous ones is Ancel Keys, who very famous about the starvation study, and he monitored and created these studies on humans during World War II. So Ancel Keys came up with the idea in around 1955-ish that that saturated fat and fat in general causes coronary heart disease. 1957, John Atkins challenged the scientists and the world of science and pointed out that sucrose is the bad guy, and sucrose is causing a lot of illnesses and disease. So that said, please keep in mind there were two big industries back in the days that were kind of start to ride the waves with capitalizing on food sales. Number one was the dairy industry, and number two was, oh my god, number two was the sugar industry.
Up its ad campaign to sweeten our palates in the 1960s,
cherry cheese pie from bags of Imperial pure cane sugar.
it was quietly paying the country's top Ivy League school to discredit evidence of the health risks of sugar. Codenamed Project 226, the industry was funneling thousands of dollars to a pair of influential Harvard nutritionists, led by Dr. Mark Hegstead. One secret memo spells out the terms of the payoff: half to be paid when you start work on the project, and the remainder when you inform us that the article has been accepted for publication. The scientists' job was to review and dismiss findings that linked high sugar consumption to heart disease, and instead blame saturated fat and cholesterol, giving sugar a free pass.
The dangers to health resulting from overweight have been shown convincingly by life insurance records. Life expectancy decreases as the amount of overweight increases. Excessive calorie intake is the cause of overweight. Consumption of calories in excess of body needs is the single most extensive nutritional problem affecting public health in this country. People should be informed that overweight is preventable. They should be given nutritional information which will help them to maintain their ideal weight.
In the health conference, these two doctors were present. Ansel Keys with his starvation studies behind him, and Dr. Atkins with his statements and findings about processed sugar and sucrose. Because in this conference, doctors, scientists, biochemists, and also the head of these big industries were there, Atkins' findings were entirely rejected with one statement that he has no correlation. He cannot prove the correlation between higher sugar intake, processed sugar intake, and in between diseases. Therefore, in 1972, Dr. Atkins wrote this book. It's called Pure, White and Deadly. He not just wrote it, but published it. So the publication went really well until bigger forces made it disappear from the market. In this book, many correlations in between higher sucrose and processed sugar intake and in between diseases. Just to mention you one, he could not experiment on humans, he experimented on rats, which is an entirely acceptable method when it comes to health. We're using rats for testing some medications or chemical materials, because we think that if the rats will fall ill or something will happen with them, most likely it will impact our health the same way. That said, he precisely showed the study where he increased the processed sugar intake in rats, and when we're talking about mother, even in the embryo stages, you know, the sugar impacted and affected the embryos, and after birth, the embryos and the baby rats were dying as fast as the sugar increased in the mother's diet. So, just to simplify it, as fast as the sugar intake was increased, as fast as the embryo died after birth. All right? There are so many more correlations. And as I mentioned you previously, I am going to talk about carbohydrates. Processed sugar is a carbohydrate. There we go. So this goes back to our prior little lessons. So this is the first time I'm mentioning processed sugar as a carbohydrate, and indeed it is a carbohydrate, but it's a very, very tricky one. Now we're going to get in a little workout session, and in our next lesson we going to continue and discuss this whole situation so much farther. So stay tuned. I did already 3 of these. This with the 4th one, 5 minutes. All right. So follow me. Go. Just keep jogging. For a heart. Took a minute to get it right? Okay, keep jogging, jumping jacks. Keep it up, keep it up. You can speed it up a bit, as well as your run. So you kick into medium intensity at least. Keep it up, keep it up. 5 more seconds, come on, come on, come on. 3, 2, 1, and go back to jogging. We are not stopping, no, no. Keep going. We're going to do boxing drill, high intensity. Ready? Go! Come on, come on, come on! Get it up! And go back to jogging. Very good. Squat jumps. it faster. Or slower. And higher. Like the jogging. Stop. Give it up. Very good. And you run. Bring your knee up. Come on. You're doing faster. In your tempo. Bring those knees up. And go back. Let's see the time. 5 minutes, guys. You did great. Congratulations. 5 minutes. 3. 4 times. 5 minutes. Set for the day.